Welcome, everyone, to the Firestone Champ Car Challenger Series from Night City to LA. Fontana, California hosts the IndyCar National Championship. Race 4 of the season here in California. It's Autoglow Speedway, the 2-mile racetrack set to do battle for 150 laps. It's 32 race cars, and it has been a very interesting weekend here in the Champ Car National Championship, the Champ Car Challenger Series here in California. Very different from what we saw at the end of last season for the World Series. A lot faster race cars on tap here this evening. Karina Amara pole position, but the talking point all weekend long has been the speeds we have seen here in Fontana. Qualifying speeds approaching 230 miles an hour here in California. We were at 210 last season. A pickup of 20 miles an hour over a lap is insane. And for 32 cars, a lot of drivers have not seen this type of speed before. This is going to be a huge test of mettle for the field. This is the first big oval on the Champ Car Challenger Series schedule. Obviously, we've had a couple ovals. We had Phoenix, we had Night City, but we've not had a wide open track like this. And we've seen a lot of very interesting trends develop here. Practice times just below the 32.0 range. Sonia Walker fastest in practice with a 32.161. We're expecting to see those times in the race. But as we browse through the qualifying order, the starting grid for this race, Karina Amara, Jake Carter, they're on the front row of the field. It's Rachel Koivuniemen and Katerina Malinkovic in row number 2. Rika Venäläinen, Isabel Lantra in row number 3. Lantra holding on to the points lead, but only by 16 over Koivuniemen, who's also in the top 5 in qualifying here. Luisa Flores, Seth Smith in the top 8. The top 10 is rounded out by Natalia Kurachenko, who has a lot of experience here at Autoglow Speedway, alongside Kira Moore. Isabel Espinosa and Nara Takarasi in row number 6. Then it's Karina Sakurauchi and Maria Chavez in row number 7. For Sakurauchi, after suffering the engine failure in Night City a week ago, a 10th-place grid drop. Several drivers received grid penalties for this race. Sakurauchi, the highest qualifying of the bunch, in 13th. Maria Chavez in 14th. As I mentioned earlier, Yuya Ishii, another driver that had a penalty to serve for that engine failure from Night City, starts in 15th alongside Valerie Fang. Keisha Fox and Asada Kito in row number 9. Row 10, Felicia Zappa and Arashi Seto, the third driver serving a grid penalty for an engine failure from Arasaka Arena. Yumina Mizuno and Sora Hoshino, teammates for Team Sakura, in row 11. Row 12 is Mia Vitsut and Maria Damata. Roberto Crown Jr. and Espacia Megalos in row number 13. Row 14 is Rex Riley and Jace Clark in the bottom 4. Rows 15 and 16, all engine-related penalties here. Del Blanco, Amity Bolstrix, Katrina Ochoa, and Sonia Walker at the very tail end of the field. But once again, qualifying is close here. Pole position time, a 31.480 by Amara. Sonia Walker, last place in qualifying, 31.681. Not too far away, not too shabby for the field here. Less than 2/10 the gap from first to last on the grid for a 2-mile oval that, as we mentioned, no one expected to be quite so fast here. Everyone, I think, taken off guard here by how much faster this track has been to kick off this stanza. Obviously, a little bit warmer last time we were here in September for the Champ Car World Series finale. But the cooler temperatures don't make up 20 miles an hour of speed. So a lot to figure out here into the great unknown. We know that this is a little bit of this is a tinkered aero configuration. We set a track sign, and we'll talk about more after.
Drivers, start your engines!
we talk about with this 32-car field, there's a tinkered aero configuration. This is an aero configuration that's being tested not only for here, but for Michigan as well. The World Series will run something similar. And basically, it is a retooling of the Venturi vanes underneath the side pods of the car. A little bit more use of the ground effects after they were simplified in 2020. They've been retooled spec here in this series, so they are completely stock as far as what the offerings are in the Challenger series. No development in this series outside of the control parts issued by the series and its suppliers. So this is a grand test of how the racing goes in Fontana under the lights. Here, Saturday night racing in California, with work to do for the field. Ford Raptor pace truck will take the left-hand turn down into pit lane. It is on Karina Amara and Jake Carter, the front of the field of 32 cars. We are underway and racing in Fontana. Good launch by Amara. But again, remember the speeds that we're going to be seeing here in Fontana. Qualifying speeds close to 230, race speeds above 220. And you can hear the sounds of 32 cars roaring down the front straightaway. Amara leads lap 1. Car on the apron, that is, I believe, Felicia Zappa. It is. And Ishii struggling as well. Several cars bowing out of the way early. That was Zappa and Rex Riley. Ishii drop back as well. Pinned on that inside lane, far inside lane. There is Miyavitsu sending it 4 wide. Using the apron. Not something we see very often. 5 wide in the back of the field. 6 wide. And that is Katrina Ochoa sending it way to the inside lane. That did not work out. But the field thins out further front. Instead of the 5 wide we saw in the back of the field, it's 2 by 2. And the speeds, they are frantic. Fastest lap speed set so far at 221.418 by Jake Carter. That's expected to go downwards a little bit as this race goes on. And that was set by Jake Carter, your race leader at the moment, who is race leader no more. Carter already dropped down to the 5th spot. New look for the 45, Isabel Lantra, throwback to Phoenix Motorsports. Previous time in the National Championship. Back in the 1990s. Lantra sitting in 4th. It's Milenkovic sitting in 3rd. Carter down to 5th. They're all chasing down Amara and Koivanemi. There's Seth Smith Jr. in the mix, as is Nara Takarasi, the former Indianapolis 500 champion from 2013. Car on the inside lane there, that was Maria Chavez. Inside lane just not working out well. The further the racetrack, the better it seems with these increased speeds. Still a lot of low downforce configurations on these cars. Very trimmed out, a lot faster in a straight line. Inside lane no longer as effective as it was even last season. Seems to be outside lane a little bit more prevalent here. That was Arashi Seto getting around Chavez here. That was for 16th. Espinoza trying to find a way around. That is the 09 of Hoshino, who's also moved forward a little bit. There's Valerie Fang trying to find a way around. The 12 of Sakurauchi. Sakurauchi in 12th at the moment. Fang 13th. Kurachenko up in 11th as Milenkovic has dropped down all the way to the 10th spot from 3rd in the running order. And the battling resumes here, but it's the top two still sitting stable and stationary out front. Amara, the pole sitter. Koivanemi entering 2nd in points, and then Lantra, the points leader. And trouble, engine out. Huge trouble, car in the wall. That is Rika Venäläinen. And caution's out for the first time. They're going to race back to the line. Rika Venäläinen with some sort of mechanical issue up against the wall. They race back to the line here, and it will stay. Amara, Koivanemi, Lantra, your top three. So first caution of the night for a single car incident with Rika Venäläinen entering turns 1 and 2 at high speeds. And there is the Ford Raptor pace truck. Themselves back in position here. Takarasi, bottom of the racetrack, same with a couple others. Some drivers taking the chance to get an early pit stop in here. Pit lane is open and away we go. 4 pit stops here in Fontana. Leaders stay out. First one in, Takarasi from the 6th position. Pit lane they go. Several cars coming down pit lane here for the first time. Rika Venäläinen. And pit lane as well. See if we can learn what happened to Venäläinen's car to cause this possible early exit for Venäläinen. Definitely a long way back no matter what happens here. Hoshino gets around Kurachenko on pit lane. Roberto Crown Jr. also coming down pit lane, as is Yuya Ishii. Anthony Pulsatrix. Yumina Mizuno, the 23. And 35 of Miyavitsu. Also down pit lane. Also coming up pit lane now is Sonia Walker. So Amara leads, but first caution of the race early on in the contest. Rika Venäläinen, an incident in turns 1 and 2. We don't know what's caused the mechanical issue in Rika Venäläinen's car, but it could be an early exit for a driver that entered this race 3rd in points. To be scored 32nd would be absolutely devastating going into Sonoma in 2 weeks. Still on the pace car, which means we have at least one more lap of caution. Venäläinen's day officially done. We are getting that confirmation. So we're down to 31 cars, all of them on the lead lap. One retirement though early on. And Again, the early reports right now is that it was a gearbox failure for Venäläinen. So Venäläinen early exit in this race. Gives us a chance to reset and regroup. After a frantic opening stanza. Return the racing here momentarily. And indeed it was a gearbox failure for Venäläinen. Decent amount of shifting goes on here in Fontana from 5th to 6th gear, especially if you're in traffic. Very easy to imagine Venäläinen reach down to grab 5th gear, entering turn 1, and then let go. Lights out. Single file restart coming up here. All 31 cars still running. Nose to tail. Frantic lap times. Lap time timer got a little bit faster, even 223.69 miles an hour is what we saw in those first 10 laps. That was by Takarasi. Very possible that we can see 225 mile an hour lap times here in this race, which again, a lot faster than we saw just a few months ago for the World Series finale. 15, 16 mile an hour differences on track here. Karina Amara looking comfortable and poised at the front of the field. But now they're all back together again for this restart. The pace car once again takes the left-hand turn off into pit lane. Through the restart zone we go. Green flag in the air and away we go. Really good start by Koivunieemi as well. And they'll fan out in the turn 1. On the exit, turn 2. So single file, but you see them fan out and begin to serpentine down the back straightaway. Koivunieemi sends it to the inside lane and makes a pass for the race lead. Amara dispatched by Koivunieemi, who leads now over Isabel Lantra. Carter up to 4th. Seth Smith Jr. top 5, and they are 4 wide behind entering turns 1. That is Megalos having to scramble off the apron. Slotting in right next to Felicia Zappa after losing a dozen spots. There's Blanco, who's still mired deep in the pack. Kurchenko using the apron a little bit. Really just kind of shuffling out of the way here. Seems like cars are using the apron more to just get out of the way. Meanwhile, it's up to the front for Koivunieemi. Lantra. Amara under attack here from Jake Carter. They'll sit side by side down the front straightaway here. Carter top 5. Seth Smith in the 5th position as well. And then just behind them is Luisa Floros, the 75 car. Floros had Akira Moore. There's Malinkovic, there's Valerie Fang in the mix as well, as we see a battle for the race lead. And this is going to be Lantra's lot to lead. Isabel Lantra to the front of the field. The points leader out front, but Koivu on the surge on the outside lane through 1 and 2. Will get clear and stay out front. And pulled a lot of momentum away from Lantra for that race lead. More reminiscent of the racing we saw back in the late 1990s when this track first opened in the early 2000s. Don't run in the bottom lane, it's the middle and the top lanes where it's at. Everyone thinning out a little bit here. Objective, get some clean air on the nose of that car. Koivu just driving in a little bit deeper there at 3 and 4. Staying clear of Lantra, who's about to be in the middle of a 3-wide situation. Because side by side right now is Carter and Amara. Amara peeks to the inside, trying to find a way around the Malteser. Instead, Amara drops spots down to 4th, down to 5th. Got a pass by Seth Smith Jr. there as well. Here comes Lantra driving down the inside for 3 and 4. And they are 3 wide behind because that is Milenkovic almost able to touch the outside wall as they all fan out. 3 wide. Floros in the middle. Amara outside. Amara clear, as is Fang. Lantra still battling Koivu. And clear now. Seth Smith Jr. moving up to the front as well. And getting around Jake Carter in that process. Carter now down to 4th. Kira Moore up to the top 5. As everyone fans out. Smith trying to find a way around Koivu for 2nd place. Not able to do so on this occasion. Everyone fanning out here. Single file at the moment. Now we've had a chance to. Really deep drive to the inside by Hoshino. The 09 trying to move forward. Three wide there though. And it's Keisha Fox that ends up better on that exchange over Hoshino and Takarasu, who ends up losing 2 spots to both of the Fortune Racing cars. Riley and Pulstrix trying to make their way forward. Side-by-side racing here throughout the field. A lot of fighting going on right now, but it's not for the race lead. Lantra has pulled away a little bit from Koivu, who's had to deal with trying to dispatch Jake Carter, has done so. Meanwhile, Kira Moore up to 4th place, trying to fight for a podium place. It's been a rough start of the season for Moore. In the Frostfire Racing camp for the 67 team. Right now sitting pretty well. 4th place ahead of Seth Smith Jr. and Karina Amara. Who sits just ahead of Valerie Fang and Luisa Floros, teammates to the 4 in the 75. Amara. Working right now, trying to get around Seth Smith Jr. here. Top three, nose to tail once again. He's gotten right to the gearbox of Lantra. Seth Smith Jr. meanwhile passed for that fifth position. Just has to watch on as Jake Carter makes a move to the outside lane. Koivanemi drives to the inside and gets a really good shot. In first and second, change hands immediately. Lantra down to third. Koivanemi back out front. Everyone fanning in and out here. The serpentining down the back straightaway, fantastic to watch. As everyone jockeys for track position in clean air. Lantra looks to the inside of Carter. It's not there that time. And they're all trying to close in on Koivanemi. Koivanemi, winner last week in Night City. There's 3 races in California here, Sonoma in 2 weeks. Obviously, we're here in Fontana tonight. Koivanemi trying to put on a California sweep. Really strong names, though, trying to contend against that. And here comes Lantra, once again, sending it to the inside, using all the racetrack here. The wide expanses here in Fontana to take the lead right back. But we know how good Koivanemi is in turns 1 and 2, and we're seeing that again in spades. Lantra led the lap, and that could be very critical at the end of this race, 150 laps. But can't hold the momentum through 1 and 2. Here comes Kira Moore. Vancouver native, trying to make her way to the front. And now we've got a bundle of cars, 3x3. Moore still trying to find a way around. Koivanemi holds on to the race lead with Carter and Smith Jr. in tow. Sakurachi in this mix as well. She's made her way to the top 10. Three wide, almost 4. That is Seto, closest to the inside lane here. And that is Hoshino, the 09, trying to find a way around her teammate there. Thought about making it 4 wide, couldn't do it. Milenkovic on the outside here of Espinoza and Seto. Yuya Ishii trying to make a way forward as well. Fighting all the way throughout the field here. A couple of stragglers further down the back of the order. You see, that's Katrina Ochoa, the very last driver in the line, just behind Felicia Zappa. Koivanemi, though, front of the field, has opened a bit of a gap to Carter, Moore, Smith, and Amara. Talk about thriving right now. That's what Koivanemi is doing in spades. Smith trying to find a way around Moore. We talk about how scary it can be when you've not been at this type of speed before, 224 miles an hour. It can be daunting. The 31 drivers still running in this field have taken it and run with it. And it is showtime under the lights here in Fontana. We're already 35 laps through of 150 for the AAA 300. Several lead changes, 4 different race leaders. Koivanemi, Carter, Amara, and Lantra have been the 4 main race leaders here. Several have gotten close, including Kira Moore. A bit more concentrated of an effort to try to get up to Koivuniemen and bring the fight back to the race lead. And you see them fighting further in the back, outside the top 10. Inside the top 10, a little bit more organized. Lantra watching as Amara just ahead goes for that fourth spot on Seth Smith Jr. and gets it. Smith didn't fight that too awful hard either. Moore sitting in third, it's ahead of Amara. Koivuniemen just trying to lead laps and run away, and you see it spread out the top 6 in the running order. That is the 29 of Maria Chavez, who's got a couple of Fontana races under her belt. Three wide, Ishii, Floros, and Hoshino. Floros got the advantage at 3. Now looking to try to get around Milinkovic in the 30. As Hoshino, the 09, slots in behind Isabel Espinoza, who immediately puts on a fade in a 3 and 4, trying to find a way around Ishii. Just behind is Takarasi, the 57, and the 71 of Amity Pulsatrix. Trouble for Valerie Fang, really slow there. Being absolutely driven around by a lot of the field here. And you see the bumps down the back straightaway as well. This is not a smooth racing surface. It has not been repaved since its construction in 1996. So it's pretty aged, pretty weathered. As it approaches its 30th birthday in a couple of years. Two cars have walked away in this battle for the race lead. Kira Moore struggling for third because of the cars in the rearview mirror. Amara, Smith, Lantra, and others in that fight. I believe that's Takarasi, not Sakurachi, the 12. It was not. Sakurachi's leading the second group here. It was Lantra, the white and black Gamebridge car. Trying to make a move to the inside lane. Sakurachi right there attached to Arashi Seto just outside the screen. Karina's made her way up to 9th. Trying to attack Milinkovic to get that 9th place back. Milinkovic drove on the outside lane there. And now looking at the back of Maria Chavez, who's been passed by Seto. Drive to the outside. Seth Smith Jr. around Lantra, perhaps trying to put his hat in the ring in this conversation. Everyone really on their A game though here in Fontana. In the early going, lap 43 done. 44 laps in now as Seto stuck on the inside lane. And Milinkovic had to pedal it, just kind of slot in between Ishii and Takarasi. Strix into threat from Vitsut. The Estonian making up a spot here. ticking by rapidly here, and you'll see here Kira Moore has made her way to second place. Jake Carter's been dispatched outside the podium places. The Vancouver native up to second, and the Greek pole sitter Amara up to third. Lantra fifth, but distant at the moment still. Kira Moore looking to lead laps here in Fontana. Amara looking to get back to the front of the field though. Looks to the inside through 1 and 2, drives underneath the 67. And they'll stay side by side, exiting turn 2. And this is the battling that Koivuniemen wants to see in the mirrors. The more that these three battle, the more that allows Koivuniemen to dispatch and walk back away. Amara clear. And so is Carter. Carter back to third, Moore in fourth. And again, we talked about the changes made to the underbody of the cars. Horizon Corporation trying something new in the regulations for this series, while it's a spec series, in terms of the car and the aero configuration. Right now, I'd say it's a grand slam for the Champ Car officials in moving this along. Because this has been outstanding. Koivuniemen, Amara, Carter, Moore, Lantra top 5, but it's distant between Moore and Lantra as Seth Smith Jr. battles for the top 5 spot. Chavez in tow, as is Ishii and Hoshino. And they're going to fight once again, side by side. Chavez, middle 3 wide. Entering 1. And it will be Chavez that powers through, as does Takarasi, the Captain Morgan 57. Her teammates top 5. Takarasi trying to join in. It didn't quite work out there in terms of clearing Vitsu. The Estonian stays to the outside of Takarasi. Through 3 and 4, Takarasi stays to the inside of Ishii. We've completed the first third of this race, and Karina Amara has taken over the top spot momentarily. But as we saw with Lantra before, Koivuniemen powering through the outside of turns 1 and 2 and scampering away from Amara in the battle for second place. Frantic activity here in California. 51 laps in the books. See if we can take a live look if we can at the fastest laps as they run right now. Takarasi the fastest, as we mentioned, the 223.69 mile-an-hour lap time. But then it's the 75 of Floros, the 55 of Carter, Moore, Lantra, Kurichenko, all in the mix in the fastest lap conversation. Lap times have fallen, though, pretty dramatically. The tires are wearing from 32s to 34-second lap times. That's where we're at right now. Koivuniemen, Amara, Moore, top 3. as they battle it out. Throughout the entire field here, we know pit stops are not going to be too far away. Those that did come down and make a pit stop are going to have a brief advantage. Ishii, one of those drivers, Takarasi, Falsatrix, Hoshino, among the drivers here that'll have a brief advantage because they came down under that first caution. It's not serving them too awful well in the tire advantage, but the fuel mileage that they'll have will be substantial. There's Vitsu driving through the middle of the field, trying to find a way around Pulsatrix and Takarasi. Takarasi sweeps from the bottom to the middle. Blocks off Vitsu. As they all fan out down the back straightaway, Takarasi looks to the inside of Chavez. And the Slovenian makes up a spot, trying to go for two with eyes set on Seth Smith Jr. Gonna be critical to see who's got the pit stops figured out here. Just browsing and perusing down the order. Everyone a lot more spread out here. Roberto Crown getting around Isabel Espinoza. There's Maria Damata and Keisha Fox. There is Asada Quito alongside Spacia Megalos there. Valerie Fangs dropped backwards here a little bit. One thing is still pretty clear, and that is the race leader, Rachel Koivanemi. The Finnish driver right now leading as Karina Amara and Jake Carter and Kira Moore battle it out for second place. Yui Ishii has made it up to the top 5 in the 44 car for Yanjian Motorsport. And there is Takarasi. He's gotten around Lantra and Vitsu. Up to 7th. The lap times have slowed significantly here. Tires are well past their lifespan at this point. Everyone going to a fuel number. Seeing now who's got the better long run car right now. I think it's safe to say right now that Takarasi in the 57 could have one of, if not the best long run car in the field, already into the top 5, having driven her way to that point and driving around Ishii and Carter for 3rd. Takarasi's got something. Takarasi, one of those that came down pit lane, as did Ishii. So the tire advantage now in full swing. Those 8-lap difference tires are a benefit right now for Takarasi, who will have the fuel advantage as well, being able to go a little bit longer. The issue is that they're off sequence. You need to make sure you cover off the undercut that this field's about to put on you here. Amara sweeps right back underneath, fighting for second place. Takarasi trying to drive around Amara here, and will do so. With eyes set on the race leader, Koivanemi. Crossfire Racing, both cars right now in the top 10. But now it is Takarasi, the veteran, leading the way. Trying to close in on Rachel Koivanemi, if at all possible. From the outside to the inside, down the straightaway, back to the wall, to arch it into the corner. And this is where Takarassi's really strong. 3 and 4 seems to be the sweet spot for the 57. Just closing in more and more and more on the race leader. Here comes Takarassi for the race lead, drives around and gets clear. It works out. Takarassi, new race leader for the first time tonight. Ishii still stuck behind Amara, having gotten around Carter, and there is Vitsu, not far away either. Ishii, Vitsu, and Takarassi, they all were those that pit under caution, and they're seeing the dividends of that finally paying off here a little bit. .65 laps completed here in Fontana. It is Takarassi leading Koivanemi, and Karina Amara trying to hold on to third right now over Ishii. Easier said than done. Ishii trying to break through for third, and they'll go 2 by 2 down the front straightaway. Ishii had it at the line. Should be able to drive around here, and that will not be the case. Amara sitting it in deep in 1. Koivanemi line, as we saw with the 61 earlier in this race. Amara using it to effect here, and now it's Vitsu, the 35. Trying to find our way around. I think Jake Carter's coming down pit lane this time. He is. Pit stop for the 55. The window has opened, and he's not the only one. Smith Jr. down pit lane as well. You see a car already in pit lane. That is the 27 of Ochoa. And pit lane busy. They had to get down to 55 miles an hour. The window is now firmly open. Does Koivanemi make a pit stop here? Not this time, it looks like. Stays out another lap. Well, more cars will come down pit lane for some fresh Firestone Firehawk tires and some Speedway fuel. The pit stop window is open and in full force. And here comes Koivanemi down pit lane now. It'll be Takarassi, Vitsu, and Ishii top 3. Hoshino 4th. The car is on pit lane there. That is Arashi Seto, one of the last drivers that needs to make a pit stop. That is not pit already. Car is leaving pit lane. That is the 55 of Carter. That's Amara. And comes Chavez. Browse and peruse through the field. Takarassi continues to lead. There is Koivanemi being passed by Carter. The undercut worked. Mara gets around as well. We know how good Koivanemi's car is in the long run as well. So very fanned out here as we approach the halfway point. Halfway into lap 75, we have completed 72 laps. Only run retirement for a gearbox failure, a reek event alignment. Everyone else still rolling. And there is a giant spread in this field. As I come up to Sonia Walker here. Sonia Walker, one of those that came down under that caution. There is the 23 Yumina Mizuno alongside Roberto Crown Jr. and Natai Kurachenko. And yet their window is a little bit longer here. They get to go a little bit further. I think I have to wonder here at this point, is this top 9 from Takarasi to Walker able to make this on one more stop? They're going to get past the halfway point pretty easily. And I would hazard to guess if they can make it a little bit further, if they can make it as close to lap 85 as possible, they might be able to make it on that last stop. But they've got to go at least another 10 laps. See what they can do. We do know right now that they have the advantage. Takarasi leads the way by 2 seconds over Miyavitsu. Sora Hoshino up to 3rd. Yuya Ishii top 4. Amity Pulsatrix 5th ahead of Natai Kurachenko, who is about to be peppered with a lot of pressure from cars getting a lap back here. Carter, Amara, Smith, Koivanami, Moore, all in this group, as is the 23 of Mizuno. And they are trapped behind Kurachenko for a moment. Carter's going to be able to break free. And here they come down pit lane. Oh. So they could not make it much further than halfway. It looks like there may still be a pit stop for everybody in this field. Koivanami pinned behind Mizuno and Kurachenko. They're going to lose some time in this fight. And Kurachenko going to bail down to pit lane, as does Mizuno. Whoa, trouble. Contact between Sakurachi and Crown, and that's a car in the fence, and that I believe was a Spacia Megalos. It was the 66 of Megalos was in the fence. Everyone able to get back around safely. That was a little bit tense. Takarasi stays in the control of the race. But decent trick of the field, about to get to the last back. There goes Carter. There goes Amara. And here goes Seth Smith Jr. and Kira Moore. But imagine that Takarasi's not going to be out for too often much longer. And indeed, that's the case. Peeling down to the very inside lane into the apron to make her pit stop here on lap 80. Side-by-side battling here. It is Seth Smith Jr. and Kira Moore. Jake Carter set to take over the race lead here in this fight. Back to the lead. The race has led one lap up to this. Now 2 laps in this race. Amara in tow. Top 5 really still clustered together all the way back to Coy Vanamy in that 5th spot. Here comes Amara for the race lead though. Top lane, turns 1 and 2, still superior. And keep an eye on the 6, 7 or more. Looking good right now as well. Speed running here, top 5 in your screen. Carter, Amara, Moore, Smith, and Coy Vanamy. Maria Chavez and Katrina Ochoa, 6th and 7th right now on the racetrack. There is Ochoa with the 29 of Chavez and the 45 of Lantra. Ochoa, one of the first ones that came down pit lane, being passed here in the process. And just kind of showing you how far back those that stayed out extra went. Takarasi now down in the 27th position. Nowhere even close right now. So they're really hoping that this pays off somehow, because right now it is not looking great. "64 laps to go." Carter continues to lead over Amara and Moore. Coy Vanamy's gotten around Seth Smith Jr. as they chase the draft down the back straightaway. Vanamy peeks to the inside here of Amara, having easily dispatched Kira Moore. But can't make it stick there through 1 and 2. You can see the gap all the way back the Gia cars, 2 of them right now all together. Teammates Chavez and Ochoa sitting ahead of Lantra, Milinkovic, Seto, Quito, all of them in this group. Milinkovic, Riley, both the Impulse cars. That's Quito and Sakurachi in this group. Down to 60 laps remaining in this race when they crossed our finish line. It has been a frantic pace. Three wide, further back there, that was Milinkovic staying clear of the Team Impulse cars. Pockets of cars all around the racetrack here. This is the battle for the race lead. 5 cars in it. Seth Smith a little bit further back though, losing touch with this group. Koivanemi on the charge to try to reclaim the race lead. He's led the most laps so far at 39. Does Koivanemi once again have the car to beat here in Fontana? Obviously, the battling has allowed Carter to get ahead a little bit here, but Koivanemi in the mix once again, trying to close in. I think at this point she knows one-on-one. She's got a better car than Carter. Karina Amara is no joke either right now. Baseporia has struggled a lot in the first races of the season. Adelaide, Phoenix, and Night City were not kind to the Greek squad. Amara's looked good. Floros making some gains up to 16th after a poor pit stop, but working forward. Magalos, despite tagging the wall, still in the hunt. Currently being mentored by Jamie Marie Jardine, two-time IndyCar World Champion. Comes the high-speed stuff. They're looking pretty good as Koivanemi squeezes and clears for the race lead. And make sure that Carter can't respond. Koivanemi back in control of the AAA 300. Five cars once again in this group. Seth Smith cut right back up to the gearbox of Kira Moore. But don't look now, because this group is not far away. 3 seconds the gap that they have to overcome. Katrina Ochoa trying to lead the field forward and make this a 10-car fight. Sadakita's fallen off just a little bit in this battle, down into the 13th spot. That is, oh, trouble, trouble, blown tire. A tire has failed for the 75 of Luisa Floros. A huge side contact there, but that is a blown tire. Floored Luisa Floros. A tire failure for Floros as he tries to make it back around. That is one of the scariest things that have happened to you on this racetrack. A blown tire entering turn 1. Thankfully, it happened on the front straightaway, so Flores could try to navigate around it. but not what you want to see here. We talk about how old and abrasive this track surface is, how bumpy it is. It wears tires out aggressively. Tire failures, not unexpected at some point. Firestone, as durable as these tires are and as safe as they are not impervious to the same issues that Goodyear has had over the years here. Carter around Amara. And Amara, you do have to kind of worry if they're running a similar setup. It doesn't appear they are, but if they are running something similar, things like camber and toe-in can really highlight a weak spot on the sidewall of the Firestone tire and force a tire failure. Flores, I believe, returning to the racetrack after that tire failure. There she is. 75 back out and running. Now, awkwardly for Flores, this puts Flores off the lead lap and out of cycle, out of sequence, but she's good to go to the end of the race. And now she's going to have fresher tires than the rest of the field. So that's the flip side of the coin. But their hand's been played for them there. They almost lost 2 laps. Instead, it's only 1. And now Flores can work with that and try to make her way back forward. Koivanemi has cleared by a pretty wild amount over Carter and Amara, as we saw earlier in this race. It's happening again. Only now there's not as many cars to worry about walking away from, because they're split up into different groups, different sections, and fragments around the racetrack. Ochoa continues to lead. Chavez, teammates there for Escuderia Aguia, working together here. Maria Damata has joined the retirement list with an engine failure. One of the Fords out early. Damata with an engine failure. We'll have a 10-place grid penalty going into Sonoma. Battles throughout the racetrack here with less than 50 laps to go. There's your points leader, Isabel Lantra, that white and black Gainbridge number 45. Fighting to stay in the top 10 at this point. Seto in 11th. Trying to take over that spot. As it sits right now, it'd be a wide swing in favor of Rachel Koivanemi, who would become the points leader if things stayed the way they are right now. Also, it would be a good run right now for Chavez, who really needed it. Felicia Zappa, not so much. Zappa right now down in the 17th position. Takarasi already back up to 22nd before this last set of pit stops takes place. There's Rex Riley. There is Keisha Fox. Ahead of Asada Quito and Jace Clark. Clark in 15th. Dale Blanca sitting in 16th, but about to be passed here by Aspasia Megalos, who has also dispatched Felicia Zappa for the 17th spot. Valerie Fang 18th, leading another small group, which has Isabel Espinoza, Yuya Ishii, and Nara Takarasi. The field is really spread out here at this point. And the speed difference right now between Flores and Koivanemi, first and 30th on track, 6 mile an hour difference. Flores a lap down, obviously having to make an early pit stop for a tire failure. Koivanemi obviously been out on track for a little bit. Big difference there. Flores, who could cycle out in a really good spot here just with how everything's played out. Knowing this is a 2 pit stop race, Flores has made that last pit stop already. So they are good to go to the end. No one else is. Sakurauchi's gotten ahead of Ochoa for the 6th spot. Has dispatched both of the Agia cars in the field. Still working with Chavez right now, trying to settle this debate. They have closed in a little bit. It looks like they were trying to until they were fighting. They had closed down to less than 3 seconds. Now that they're fighting again, it's opened back up a little bit. Karina trying to spread her wings out in that 12 car. Her first wide open oval experience. Good preparation for what will be her first Indianapolis 500 in May. She'll make her World Series debut with Team Impulse in the number 12 machine, joining a power-packed team for Team Impulse with Kozlov, Glover, Rogers, and Jamie Marie Jardine taking one more stab at the Indy 500. Karina showing why she was picked to be in this situation, from dirt track star to high-speed asphalt. Doing a really good job at the moment, is really pulled away from that group being led by Ochoa. Milinkovic also moving up positions as well, the 30 car up to 8th. Chavez down the 9th, and it's Lantra holding on to the top 10 still, but not by a wide margin. Seto and Fox battling it out for 11th at the moment. Keisha Fox wins the top 10. Seto on the outside lane, 1 and 2. A lot more powerful there. Hooks up and lets it rip. And there is Rex Rowley as well, the 72 car. As the paddles come around once more. Koivanemi still leads. At this point, leading close to 60 laps in this race over Carter, Moore, and Amara. Of those in the top 5, Amara and Seth Smith Jr. have yet to lead laps. Amara's led 13, Carter's led 14, Koivanemi leading 60 now. Isabel Lantra led laps early on, but has not really touched the lead since. And Takarasi led 17 laps under that different sequence, but seems to really need help to get back to the lead at this point. Struggling now up to 16th, has gone around Zappa and Espacia Megalos. but still over 8 seconds adrift of the race leaders at this point. Chase Clark down pit lane, the 9 car making his stop early. See what that looks like for Chase Clark. See if he can make some inroads. With that undercut, he'll have fresh tires. Freshest on the racetrack, and that seems to be a potential winning strategy here. It's working out right now for Floros, who's got the pace to keep it up. Keeping an eye right now on this battle just outside the top 5. Sakurauchi in 6th, Ochoa 7th, 8th Milinkovic, 9th Chavez, and Lantra still fighting to hold on to the top 10. Now losing out to Seto and staying ahead of Keisha Fox. Milinkovic trying to find a way around the 2 Agia cars, 2-on-1 scenario there. Doesn't quite work out. Another car down pit lane, Megalos making an early stop. Here comes Katrina Ochoa in as well. And not alone in that situation. I believe that might have been Amara also down pit lane. No, it's Carter. Carter bails. There's Megalos leaving her box now. And you saw there just briefly, that's the gap that Koivuniemen's opened up to the group. And that's why everyone's beginning to pit a little bit early. They're trying to find a response for the 61 crew. Koivuniemi leads the way over Moore, Amara, Sakurauchi, Chavez, top 5. Still waiting as pit stops take place here. A wide pit window. Window's open though. And again, the big question is whether or not Koivuniemen is able to retake the race lead here, because the undercut is strong. Jake Carter undercut before, and it worked out phenomenally for a moment. More cars coming down. Milinkovic, Lantra, and Fox all coming down pit lane, as is Riley. So another bundle of drivers coming in. And there is Koivuniemen. Koivuniemen, one of them. So the race leaders bowed out. See again, the car is battling on pit lane at the moment. There's Megalos ahead of Quito. Arashi Seto now the race leader. But I don't think for a very long here. Leading pit lane, that is the 29 of Maria Chavez in the sight lines there. There is Suspacia Megalos, one of those that came in earlier. And that is Dale Blanco coming down pit lane, another Crystal Cove racing car. There is Arashi Seto leading the way. Yet to make a pit stop. First lap's left for the 52, and in comes the 52 now, which will hand the lead right back over to Takarasi with 26 laps to go at the line. And Takarasi not pressured at all. Hoshino has fallen back big time, as did Ishii and Vitsu. Wide open fight right now. Strategy taking place in full force right now. Takarasi leads. There's Hoshino, there's Crown, there's Vitsu, and then there's this gaggle here. Jake Carter's in the middle of it though. That's 55, trying to get a lap back here. He would be by default the race leader as more cars come down pit lane. Oh, and Ishii with an engine failure. The 44, smoke billowing out of the car. Up in the wall, just trying to stay out of the way. Dangerous as everyone tries to navigate the 44 here. 44 just trying to get out of the way. And does so, gets down to the apron. We stay green. Koivanemi on the charge. There's Floros, who's in good company right now with how things are looking, having made that earlier pit stop. Now in the mix. Jake Carter with that undercut, looking outstanding right now. And here comes Hoshino down pit lane now. And the floodgates are opened. Carter's in this mix, as is Ochoa. Ochoa, the 27, one of those that came in early. And in the conversation pieces here, there's more. There's Seth Smith Jr. There's Clark, there's Chavez. Not a great pit stop at Koivanemi to be this far back. Coming to 22 laps to go. And Crown comes down pit lane this time. Koivanemi's got some serious work to do. It was an engine failure for Ishii. So another 10-place grid drop for the Honda driver. Ishii's race comes to an early end with just 20 laps to go, joining Maria D'Amata and Rika Venäläinen in the retirement queue. And Clark comes down pit lane this time. Crown leaves pit lane now. Cars in this bundle, but Jace Clark in the clear. Looking for Crystal Coast, first win on their return to open wheel racing. Carter, Ochoa, and Seth Smith Jr. right now. They're currently the top three. There goes Amara, trying to challenge and contend for a potential race win. Amara could not get around Seth Smith Jr. though. Smith trying to hold on for a podium. Ahead of Amara and more. 15 laps to go here momentarily, 16 to go at the line. For Jake Carter, who is now under pressure, under extreme duress now. Chloe Vanemi, a slow pit stop. Puts her closer to Sakurachi than the lead of this race in the closing stages. Here comes Katrina Ochoa. Looks to the inside, leads at the line. New race leader, Ochoa, for a Scuderia Ghia. You want to talk about potential feel-good moment if you can get it. That team has gone through a lot. The passing of Christina Espinosa. The demotion from the World Series to the Challenger Series. In the beginning of the rebuild. If Ochoa can get a race win now, after her years of trying just to get into the series, got a breakthrough with Velocity Motorsports, or Velocity Autosport, excuse me. And that team went under. Parts became part of a Ghia, but it was not an easy road last season. A lot of failure to qualifies, being left in that unenviable position. Very enviable now to be in this battle for the race lead with 13 laps to go. But she's not alone. Behind her is Seth Smith Jr., Karina Amar, the pole sitter, and Kira Moore, the Vancouver native. Chloe Vanemi closing in as well. Keep an eye on that 61, trying to make inroads here and claw in a 2-second deficit here in 13 laps, coming to 12 to go. On her own. By no means an easy feat, but she is the fastest car on the racetrack at the moment. Will it be enough though? With 12 laps to go. She needs Ochoa to battle Carter just a little bit more and slow this group up. Ochoa knows the pace that Chloe Vanemi has and knows what's going on with the field up front. Seth Smith Jr. weaves down to the inside lane, then back up to the top. Just peeking to the inside of Amara. Amara peeks to the inside of the 27 of Ochoa. Tries to drive deep to the inside here in turns 3 and 4. Not working out that way though. Ochoa stays pretty well clear. Stays in the slipstream of Carter. Look at Sakurachi using the slipstream to get right up to the bumper, the rear, the gearbox of Chloe Vanemi here, and they're going to start battling for the top 6. And that's not what Chloe Vanemi wanted. Struggling just to keep up there with Carter. Everyone else trying to find a way around and challenge for this race win. Less than 10 laps to go, 8 at the line. Side by side at the line once again, Ochoa, lap leader. But too far to the inside lane, however, it gives Amara the space to operate. Amara looking to go forward. Ochoa slots into third. Engine failure, Mia beats suit, less than 10 laps to go. Will not see the finish. Another Ford with an issue following D'Amato's early exit. Side by side for third, Moore and Ochoa. Amara trying to close in on Jake Carter if at all possible. Carter's opened up a gap a little bit. The time is now if you're going to make a move. 6 to go, coming to 5 to go at the line. What a big day this could be for Crystal Cove, for face Poria or Agia. It has fanned out a little bit here with these 5 laps to go. Ochoa trying to charge forward once again. Has to get around Amara and then get right to the gearbox of Carter to have a shot. Peeks to the inside. Four laps to go. And Ochoa had to get out of it. Got really tight there in the exit of 2. But Amara looking good now, has a run. Trying to hold on to it here. If she can try to make a pass happen. Three laps to go, 6 miles in the AAA 300. And it is the fight at the front of the field, top 5 all together. Carter, Amara, Ochoa, Smith, and Moore. Covenami, the driver with the most laps led, now outside the top 7, has been dispatched by Chavez. Two to go, and it's become a 2-horse race at the front. Carter hitting his marks, Amara trying to do the same. Carter trying to make it as difficult as possible for Amara to get back to it. We are coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go in the AAA 300. And it's all Jake Carter to lose. Amara closing in more and more. This is the time if you're going to set it up. You've got to really close in, though. Ochoa closing in, too. Is there anything in it for Amara? Or is it Jake Carter's game to play? Out of 4 for the final time. Crystal Cove Racing returns to victory lane. It's Jake Carter winning in Fontana. It's a first career podium for Karina Amara. And a feel-good story for Katrina Ochoa for a Scuderia Agia. Finishing 3rd ahead of Kira Moore, Seth Smith Jr. top 5. Ahead of Karina Sakurauchi, Maria Chavez, Rachel Koivanami, Isabel Alondra, the points leader, in 9th and 10th place. Asada Quito ahead of Keisha Fox and Katerina Malinkovic, your top 12. As the field all comes down pit lane here. Arashi Sato 13th as the running scoreboard is going to go up at the top of your screen. Arashi Sato 13th, Aspasio Megalos 14th, Isabella Espinoza 15th, Nero Takarasi and Felicia Zappa 16th and 17th in the running order. 19th, Valerie Fang, Sora Hoshino in 20th, Amity Polstrix 21st, Sonia Walker 22nd, 23rd, Roberto Crown Jr., Natalia Kurachenko 24th, Yumina Mizuno in 25th, Luisa Flores in 26th. having to make an early pit stop, put her behind the 8 ball in the long run strategy call, but on the lead lap and finishing this race had a Jace Clark and Dale Blanco, Mia Vitsut, Yuya Ishii, and Maria Damata and Rika Venäläinen. The retirements from this race, but a wild and fun race in Fontana. That was a bit of a throwback to the years of old type of racing we saw tonight. The experiment with the underbody work the Champ Car officials had put on, successful, I would say, all things considered. Gonna get to do this again here very soon. Again, running order top of your screen. But what a wild night of racing here in the Champ Car Challenger Series. The Champ Car Challenger Series, again, a week off next week. We head back to Sonoma on the 21st here. So 2 weeks away is the Spotify Grand Prix of Sonoma, and then we go to Indy on May 17th for the Cambridge 300. Well, that's going to be here on ABN Sports 1 for the World Series. They get to keep going as well. They've got a race next weekend in Nashville, the AT&T 300 in Nashville Super Speedway. Going to be a lot of fun there. Then Homestead, Miami to end off the month of April before we head to Indianapolis. Again, 17th, the Cambridge 300, and May 19th is the 111th Indianapolis 500-mile race. A lot of racing here, but the National Championship and the World Championship in full swing. Crystal Cove Racing and Jake Carter in victory lane. Karina Amara and Katrina Ochoa rounding out the podium here tonight. A fun race with Sonoma up next in the Challenger Series schedule. On behalf of everyone here for ABN Studios, ABN Sports, the Firestone Champ Car Challenger Series from the AAA 300 and Auto Club Speedway, this is signing off from Fontana. We'll see you again in Sonoma in 2 weeks. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you next time at the racetrack. So long, everybody.